Hello there, welcome back to a new episode of From Two Minds. It has been a minute, even though maybe it really hasn't, maybe like 2 weeks or so. But I like to say that because every dying moment, spent away from you guys is eternity. So it has been a minute. How have you been? How have you guys been, in general? Yeah? Wonderful. That's really beautiful to hear. I hope you're doing good. If you're not doing good, I hope you do better today, tomorrow, and forever. Um, so as you can tell from the background, we are in a different, scenic scenario going on. Anyways, forget that. I'm in college now, and it was a move to start off. It was a move. It was definitely different for me, but at the same time, it felt normal. I don't know if it's like my ability to adapt, but I think I was able to kind of go and move on with the program and just function very well. And I think I'm doing well for myself. I'm actually building new and good habits now. Not to say that I didn't make my bed before, but usually I think like now I have more care for things because it's my living space and more appreciation for it. So every morning, like, I'll make sure that I put in an active effort to make my bed and to do the things that maybe I wasn't doing as well when I was living at home. But anyways, I mean, it has been, I think I'm about 2 weeks in, I believe, and everything's been going good. Academically speaking, I feel very much, ahead, and just making sure to anticipate the work, and, just making sure the workload doesn't like kill me off. Um, so yeah, I think that's been that about that. But as of late, I think what's been running through my mind is the fact that I'm gonna spend a good amount of time here. And so learning how to adjust has been something new for me, and how to make friends, because it definitely does get lonely. Um, but that aside, I think today I wanted to set out time to self-reflect and do something that I actually have never ever done, but I've always wanted to do for the longest of time, which is, drum roll, a digital diary. That might be a thing. I don't know if it's a thing, but if it's not a thing, for me, what a digital diary is kind of like I'm making this video, and I'm gonna give you guys like a spiel of what is happening up here in my brain, and maybe kind of like declutter. So you guys' job for me today is just to listen, um, because I think I have some stuff that I have been trying to process, and I found that when you actually just speak about things, it helps so much. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do today. To begin, um, I think I am now in a position, like I said, I mean, a new background and a new place, and that has kind of helped me venture out into the things that I like and I don't. And now that I'm in this place, I think that I was having this kind of battle with figuring out, who I am, what I want. Not out of life. I think like career wise, like I know I kind of have like a plan, but in terms of who I am as a person, what I like and what I don't like. And I think it bugged me for the longest because I mean, like I like to know things. Like that's just who I am. I don't like the spontaneousness of not knowing, I guess. So when I didn't know something, I think I was really like in a state of panic, and it bothered me a lot. So I sat with someone, and I kind of just gave them a whole spiel like I'm about to do, and well, maybe not like the entirety, but like I'm about to do, I give them a whole spiel, and so they advised me to do a little bit of self-reflection. Um, they said the reason why that's so important is because you kind of have to sit down with your thoughts and just declutter, pick out the pieces, throw the puzzles down and connect them, I guess, connect the dots. And so when I figured that out, I think I started to appreciate what was around me more and the things that I actually feel like I do know and love. So yeah, self-reflecting is very important for me as a person. I think I did a lot of that, especially now during this weekend. This is like Labor Day weekend, so basically everyone's gone, and I have this time alone to myself to think about who I am as a person. I think for the longest of time I've been searching for something. I've been searching for, and this is like something that every human has to go through. A meaning, a purpose, and what to do with that once you find it, because sometimes you might find that thing that you think, this is it. You find that this is it, and it ends up not being it, and you feel so disappointed and so defeated because your whole life, sometimes it might even feel like a waste. And I think that's one of the biggest things I want to avoid. But another thing was that in this new feeling that I'm getting is that I found like a lot of people wanting to tell me what to do, you know, and what to look for and how to do it, or what exactly my purpose is. And honestly speaking, I've never really been a big fan of that, just because I think I made a video actually, which I might post a link under the description, about how there are kind of different recipes to living life. The same recipe that applies to your best friend might not apply to you. And so you have to kind of figure out your own sense of belonging and purpose. Now, for some, it takes longer than others, but I think that is the beauty of life, is finding your own place and where you sit, where you stand, wherever, and, honing into that. So, yeah, I think that's where I'm kind of at right now. I will say though, for the people who do feel like, if you lived a life and you've enjoyed that life and for so long, and let's say your whole identity is based off being this particular person, right? And you encounter someone or some situation or some low point in life that makes you question that, who you are and who the life you've been living in general. I think it's a fear that a lot of people deal with, because it kind of strips your identity away, and now you kind of have to start from level zero and build up to who you are. And so I think that's where I'm kind of sitting right now, for about 19 years of my life, and I just realized this last year. This is my birth month. Thank you. So for about 19 years of my life, I felt like maybe I had been performing instead of actually living. And not even performing in like a fake or a pretentious way, just in more of a trying to survive way. I think I was treating life in like a survival of the fittest kind of thing, and not really understanding that the whole point of living is to enjoy this present day and time, because you never really know when you're gonna lose it. And I think I sat with that for a long time, because I just had this fear of not knowing, you know? And I think I questioned a lot of things, but the truth was I tried to look for those answers and ask people. And it wasn't like, oh, tell me what I should do. It was more like what's going on with you, kind of getting a check-in and a feedback from other people and how they live their life. And also, I think I was like mirroring a lot, and mirroring is like I was acting and reacting in the way that people wanted me to. And trust, I think it's a hard process to get out of. As a, what do I even say, former people pleaser? I think I'm still like I'm a recovering people pleaser is the word. As a recovering people pleaser, I think it takes a lot of progress and a lot of effort to put into something and realize maybe I need to stop in my tracks and figure out what in the world I'm doing right now. It's a scary thing, but it is a really important thing, and it is a big step that I think we all should take. Because sometimes you might be living a life that isn't yours. And I don't really, my thing was that I didn't want it to be too late for me to enjoy who I am and what I am and what I should be doing, you know? So no, yeah, it's taken time and effort. I think I'm now at a point where I'm glad that I figured this stuff out. But I think there's also like a feeling of uncertainty and fear because it's like, dude, like where do I even start? You know, I feel like I've lost so much of those times, but I'm also kind of happy that I'm at a point where like I see things, you know, and I appreciate it for what it is. And so when I may be concerned that maybe I haven't lived life to, like, there's so many things that I haven't done, and people will ask me like, oh, have you done this? Have you been here? Have you done that? And it's kind of like a no. I think I'm just now appreciating life for what it is. And so I think I would advise everyone else to do that. Regardless of what position you are in life, some people are sure of what they want and maybe they haven't lived for other people. In simple, plain words, I think I had been living for others and just doing for others instead of myself, because that's not self-centered at all. It's not selfish to want to do for yourself, especially when you haven't ever done that. You know, you might feel selfish at first because of maybe your background or the kind of sacrifices that you've had to make for people. So definitely don't ever put yourself to blame for stuff like that. It's important to put yourself first, because when you're crashing, you know, you might have a family and a community, but sometimes you might not even want to weigh those burdens on them, and you're crashing on your own, and it's a sad sight to see. Okay, great. I thought it wasn't recording. Whew. All right. Let's see. Another thing that I wanted to kind of speak about was perspective. I think perspective is such a beautiful thing. A lot of you have probably heard about putting yourself in other people's shoes. And sometimes it's not even in like the big things, you know, like I think it's also in the small things, the way people act the way they do or react the way they do. I try not to get bothered by like small little inconveniences. Like, why did I wave at this person as I was walking? And I waved and smiled, but then they walked past me, didn't wave, and just stared at me. You know, I take those kind of things, like I take those things personal, because it's like I'm going out of my way to be nice, you know, and I get nothing back. So do I feel a little crazy when those things happen? I'm like, yeah, like I put in an effort. But I also think now more than ever, I've been starting to just realize people have bad days. And I mean, I've always known this. It's not like something that I'm just now finding out. But I think it's always a good reminder to remember that people do have bad days. You have bad days. You have days when you don't really want to talk. You have days when other people might be annoying to you. And maybe you really, really think that your face is hiding it, but it's not, because you're kind of like that. And so I think the importance of perspective is so big. A professor of mine actually mentioned something like that. I forgot how it went. It went, so if, I don't think I'm going to quote him exactly, but it was like, if a man, let's say you're driving and a man kind of cuts in front of you, right? Super, super high speed, cuts in front of you. In your head, you're probably going to be like, oh, that's an idiot right there. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, he's kind of an idiot, you know? He's kind of an idiot for doing that. But then he was like, do you know if he's actually an idiot? And I was like, I mean, he did something that an idiot would probably do. But then he was like, yeah, but you kind of have to figure out how you're looking at it, you know? Because he might have been in a emergency situation. Maybe he forgot to pick up his kids, or his wife is pregnant, or someone in his family had died. So looking at it from that standpoint really changed it for me. And I guess it reminded me the importance of doing that, especially when I'm upset or at someone, or maybe I feel like someone isn't really listening. I think everyone has their own unique experiences, and they have the way that they live life and the way that they do things. And so I never really try to place blame, but instead just understand that this is what it is. People have their own unique experiences in their lives that they have to live. But our connections are so similar. And sometimes it takes a different kind of maturity to be like, I'm not going to be mad at this, but instead I'm going to accept the fact that they probably and most likely have their things going on in life. So I think I'm happy for having that kind of perspective, especially on other people. It's really nice and it feels good. I want to kind of touch back on being here, and here I mean in this room, in this dorm, and part of the identity thing that I was kind of talking about. I think for a lot of my life I have a really good ability, to communicate and talk to people and make friends, even though it probably didn't feel real or wasn't. That's like a different conversation. But I had the ability to do that and to really conversate with people. But moving here has felt different, if that makes sense. I think it's because mentally I might not be ready to make friends, but then there's that like deep feeling of loneliness that kind of hits me sometimes. You're like in your bed at 10:30 p.m. doom scrolling, and it's just like, dude, I don't even like have someone that I could like call up right now, or like a friend or something. I think of it sometimes and I'm like, I'm jealous of people that have best friends. I don't have a best friend. I don't have someone that I don't know, like that brother and sister, or the brother and brother feeling that, you see in some best, or sister and sister feeling, or brother and brother feeling that you see in a lot of best friends. I don't think I've gotten to a point where I've built that connection yet. I don't think I said I was jealous. If I did, I'm not jealous. I'm more of like a, you wish that was you, huh? kind of thing. Like, that's how I'm at. Like, I'm like, man, like, I wish that was me. Like, I wish I had somebody that's like as close as a brother or as close as a sister or whatever, and that knows me in and out, But in the meantime, I've just been, I guess, talking to people. It's gotten to a point where I actually forget to introduce myself, and I'm just gaining life experiences through conversations. And I talk about whatever. So for people who maybe are struggling with that, I think from my experience, if you're going to use it, you don't have to. I found that sometimes you really just have to say words. Like, you can actually, there's nothing wrong. You're not weird for practicing what to say. Especially if you're like socially anxious. It's really actually really, really good to practice what you say, because you don't want to stutter and then end up feeling like the earth is about to swallow you up in whole. You can think about what you want to say, what you talk about. I kind of just say anything. Like, let me think. Oh yeah, so I was grabbing some food and I seen this guy, and I don't know, he was like, his hat was backwards. And in the big 2025, I don't see a lot of people with their hats backwards. And so I said, I don't even think I talked about that hat. I was just like, what do you think that person is like thinking about right now? And I genuinely just wanted a perspective. But you can't be scared, because some people will not react the way that you might be expecting. Like, others might actually genuinely think you're weird, and that's fine. But you are putting in an active effort to make friends. You can also make it a goal. I think setting goals is important. It's good to set goals, I set a goal to actually speak to more than 3 people in last week, because it's a weekend. So I set a goal to talk to more than 3 people last weekend, and it went really well for me. And I did good. I think I spoke to 5 people, and I met 5 new people, and I felt good about myself because I felt accomplished. And so this is an example of how I'm actually putting active effort into understanding who I am as a person. And so I really, really love that. Yeah. But anyways, I think I was talking about goals. There was actually something that I wanted to touch on with that. With goals comes finish lines. And I don't know if this is like a hot take, but I remember last night, doom scrolling again. I seen I think it was like a marathon runner, one of those like super tall avatar looking like Kenyan dudes. And he was running and he was at the finish line, and obviously like he's been running a long time, so he was kind of wobbly, but he was good, right? But then like a couple inches away from that finish line, he just falls and starts stumbling and like dragging himself across. And for me, I think I'm such a deep thinker that I started to just, I think for a second there, I hated the concept of a finish line. Especially when you set goals sometimes. Sometimes the finish line isn't as sweet as we like to envision it. I think it's only sweet in the beginning of setting that goal because we feel like we can see that finish line. But for me, I think the sweet part is actually in the journey to the finish line, because as humans, we're always in this state of leaning forward onto what's next, that we're just going to be thinking about the next thing. It's like, okay, I woke up at 10 a.m. today, right? I'm thinking about what I'm going to do at 12 p.m. You're not really living in the moment. So for me, the reason why maybe I hated that finish line and the concept of it that night was because when you get there, I feel like it's not always as sweet as what it's meant to be. But I mean, it feels good. No doubt about that. But I feel like the journey getting there feels better. Sometimes it's even worth it more. I think it changes characters more than the finish line actually does. The journey builds the character to the finish line. But sometimes having the finish line puts so much pressure on you and weighs you down that your whole goal might even start to deteriorate. And I never want that to happen. So maybe that's why I hated that finish line. But then again, like, a finish line is also really good. It's healthy to have one. Like, bodybuilders or people that are like losing weight or in like working out or whatever, you have to have a cut mark, or a part where you're like, okay, like I feel good and I feel great and I feel like I'm healthy right now and I'm getting just maintain where I'm at, right? So that's really good to have. I feel like that's like a nice finish line. But in terms of like real life deep goals, experience type of things, I really am not the biggest fans of finish lines. A finish line means you got there, right? Which is good. I just don't like the concept of it. Like, you have to get there. I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope I am. Yeah. Today should be a reminder. This weekend, it's a Saturday. This weekend should be a reminder to be good to yourself. It's really important to be good to yourself. I think as human beings, we spend so much time, again, like I said, that leaning forward, that we don't appreciate the time that we have right now. Whatever you may be doing, sitting on your couch, working out, in your garage, smoking, drinking, partying, in your bed, tucked in right now, remember to be good to yourself. It's something that we sometimes forget often. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean just being physically fit. It also means being mentally fit and being there in wellness in general, and pouring into yourself positive words and positive affirmations because no one's going to do that for you. And sometimes the people who are doing that aren't doing it as well as you would, because they don't know you fully on the inside, like you know yourself. So I think my advice for anyone out there is to pour into yourself the positive things and not the negative. You are worth everything, and you are good enough, and you are loved, and you should really, really take care of yourself, because it's important to do that. Yeah. But no, thank you so much for listening to me today. I think I've talked a good amount, and I really enjoy speaking, and I think that's just the beauty of having conversations. I hope I hope you enjoy the time that, we spent together here. Because it always means so much to me whenever I have my guests over, or whenever it's just me speaking, which might be a lot more now than a lot more often. I don't know, which is going to be a lot more often. So yes, thank you so much for having me. I don't know if we'll be having a guest next episode, but hopefully I think I have something good coming up and around. So yeah, don't forget to take care of yourself. It's really important. You are loved, as always. It's a safe space here. So if you ever feel the need to comment, or you could also text or DM the Instagram From Two Minds. I'm still trying to figure out this internet stuff. So From Two Minds is the social media on Instagram and on TikTok. And on YouTube, it is From Two Minds, the number 2 and no spaces. Thank you so much again for being here, for listening to me. This will now be on record my first ever digital diary. So once again, thank you so much. This is From Two Minds. Make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you really, really enjoy this. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those. I will get back to them as soon as I can. Thank you once again. Love you. Have a great day.